Dan.
Kenny, what do you think of Evan tonight?
Man, he was like Shaquille tonight. I mean, seriously, the way he was just rim, and then dominated the defensive side. So he was, and that was one of the most dominant performances I've seen from him. And we needed it. Don, Schroeder was all over Don, and we weren't creating much elsewhere. He was creating, I think, 10 potential assists too. Like he was dominant tonight. It was a great performance.
How do you get this version of him more frequently?
Listen, sometimes these things happen when you have guys out, right? Like guys are out, and we got Sam and Max and DG, kind of our playmaker, guys that create advantages, and we got him out there with units, especially when we separate those two now. No Don, he's got to kind of do it, and I think. Sure, we're doing more things for him, but I think he's just taking the burden, and I think it's a lot of it's circumstances.
Kenny, we talked pregame about Sabonis and how he can impact the game from so many different angles, but Evan was kind of doing that himself as a hub, being 8 assists along with the 29 points. Just has he become more of a complete player?
I mean, I think we're seeing signs of it, right? I think it's a little bit by default with who we have out. But you know how these things go. You discover things, and maybe we're discovering he's starting to blossom. And like I said, I keep saying I love how direct he is to the goal, right? Like, I think sometimes he gets too sideline to sideline. He's just sticking his nose right down, right into the basket, and even his pivot game is a little better, and had some great finishes. So, it's great. Again, that maybe the best performance since I've been here that I've seen.
Down the stretch, obviously, they were denying him, trying to make things more uncomfortable, obviously, and then you have guys like Donovan, Jalen, and Jared Allen come up. How, even though it might have felt stagnant at points, to see the effort and intensity kind of pay off at the end.
Yeah, and I think, it was more scrappiness than beauty, like you said, Ethan, they're taking away your two best players. Other guys got to make plays. And listen, I think Jalen's got to do some of that for us. Until we get some guys back. But you're right; those guys came up with a couple of important plays. I don't want to forget Dean Wade. Right? Now, we never talk about him, but I thought he made a couple of big defensive plays. Strips DeRozan in the lane. And then offensively, he never makes a mistake, doesn't turn it over, so just want to shout him out.
Thank you. Mark?
You guys went to the Don Jalen little pick and roll down the stretch, and I think Jalen actually made the floater, maybe the last field goal you guys made. What about those two makes them a good pick and roll team?
That's all they talk about, because Don knows that they'll put a weaker defender on Jalen usually, and that's what teams do, and they talk about it and they work on it. Don grabs them after practice, tells them how to set angle of the screen, and they talk about where Jalen catches it in the pocket. It's their kind of little connection, because Don knows end of game. That a lot of times that's what it comes down to. So. Pretty good execution. Not perfect, but pretty good execution.
What is to say that Don and I guess you two trust the second-year guy who really, it's his first year playing this kind of minutes to be in those situations that you can go to that as a
Mike, someone said that today, like he's really a rookie, right? Because he didn't really play last year, so this is really first-year reps. So, that's how much, the vets trust this guy, and he's earned it. I mean, heck, we ran the first play tonight for him, which I rarely do for a rookie. Like, he's just he's building credibility day by day, and you want that guy to be a guy that helps you win a playoff series. That's where he's headed, because he's got no fear. Obviously, the shooting piece. Now, if he can play out of that half roll, which is huge, end of game, really good news for us.
Jim.
What would you say is Evans' foundational offensive skill?
Listen, I think he's versatile. Like I don't think there's one thing you say, man, that's like he's not Yao and has like the jump hook, right? Or DeRozan's got the spin move. Like it's not that. I think he's versatile. I think he works within the flow of the offense. But I don't. It's almost a curse of versatility. You know what I'm saying? Because he can go in the perimeter a little, he can go in the post a little, he can push it in transition. So, listen, his biggest skill is winning. I love when Kobe says that. Kobe says that all the time. I just steal it from him. He just kind of wins. He's one of these rare guys that comes in the league and all of a sudden affects winning. I think he had a 92 defensive rating tonight. 92 defensive rating, 144 offense. I think. I mean, that's dominant. I mean, the guy's he's just a winning basketball player.
What's the curse of versatility?
Sometimes like if you're just kind of like a low post player, you get really good at that. If you're a kind of 3-point shooter, that's your niche. Evan's kind of good at a lot of things, and he finds it within the game. I don't think there's one thing you say, man, this is his thing, and maybe he gets there, right? I think he's working on what that looks like. I do think and I know we worked out on the summer. You do have to have like a end of game package, ISO package. But we saw some stuff tonight where he was facing up. Handles look great, getting by people. So you got to be able to score in isolation in a big playoff game. So, that was some, it's kind of like the stuff he was working on all summer, and good to see him kind of execute that stuff.
Anything else in the room? Last one, Spence.
I know that this is a couple games ago, but I was looking it up. The most defended field goal attempts was Evan. I think it was somewhere like 649. The next was like in the 500s. Just that piece, understanding that, and also the expectations of him offensively, like that has to play a role into it too, right? Like the energy that you're exerting on that end has to also affect you on the other, right?
Yeah, what it like. I don't have the specific stat, and I'll get it for you, Spence. But like, they track jumps now. Like he's like tops in the league in jumps. Like because he's always protecting the rim. We're asking a lot of him. But that's what the great players. That's kind of what they do. But we can't forget about his defensive impact and the energy he takes. Now we're asking to bring it up but this is great, right, for a 24-year-old guy like he's trying to blossom into a superstar. He's getting great reps right now.
Okay.
All right.